With the recent deadly violence on June 14th, which saw the murders of Minnesota State Rep Melissa Hortman and her husband Mark, as well as the shooting of another couple, John and Yvette Hoffman, it's clear that the level of political violence is continuing to rise. Our guests today have recently been through their own terrifying ordeal for having done nothing more than exercising their First Amendment right to criticize President Donald Trump. Together, our guests reach over 1 million subscribers every day with their hugely successful YouTube channels and podcasts. They're here to talk about the rise of political violence and the need to lower the temperature, and the responsibility that comes from having a platform that size. Ladies and gentlemen, it is our pleasure to welcome to the Dangerous Ones two incredible people, Brittany Page and Jesse Dollemore. Hello.
Wow. Hello. Thank you so much for having us.
Absolutely.
Welcome.
Can you do it again but with more enthusiasm?
Hey, man.
That's just Jim,
He's
dude.
only had one cup of coffee.
Yeah.
That's just Jim.
No, I like it. It's very reminiscent of how I roll. So I feel very comfortable. And thank you very much. We appreciate the warm, kind, unwarranted introduction.
You guys are
And
great.
all the work that you guys do, of course, as well.
Well, thank you
Thank you.
so much. And, I know you both recently made videos about your ordeal, and we'll put those links in the description. But for those of you, for those in the audience who don't know, can you walk our audience through what happened?
Yeah. So we invite people to call our show, just like you do. And we have periodically over the years gotten some hateful messages, which I'm sure that you guys also experience.
Yep.
And sometimes they're concerning enough to report because they involve specific targeted threats. And that was the case with this most recent death threat and rape threat that we got, where someone called our voicemail line for our podcast, left brief messages saying that they were going to rape me and murder me and Jesse. And it was concerning enough that we felt it should be reported. So that's what we did right away. We called the local police here in DC, and we called the FBI, and we made those reports. And we finally were able to attend a sentencing hearing and have this go somewhere, which is the first time that that's ever happened. And Jesse, I don't know if you want to add to the story a little bit, but that's kind of the basic overview.
Yeah, it is the first time that there's been multiple times where we called the authorities because we felt it was credible enough. We have a certain set of criteria that we follow that if it meets a certain threshold, we reach out to the authorities, because some are just dipshits who aren't really, you don't really feel like, oh, this is really credible. And luckily, Brittany was tenacious enough to continue contacting the FBI and the police to force the issue. And even in the wake of Ed Martin being the attorney, the U.S. attorney for the District of Columbia where we live, they secured a guilty verdict, a guilty plea, and there were consequences. So we're thrilled, and hopefully it sends a message to others out there who think that threatening sexual violence against women and murder is the way to change hearts and minds. I mean, I know it's the world we live in, and it's the world that Donald Trump has normalized and ushered in, but it is, there's another path out there if you're a troll watching this and think that you can just, with impunity, threaten to rape and murder people.
And really quick, this person also, I mean, he had his phone. You guys could see his phone number, for crying out loud. And I believe his socials and stuff. And real quick, I after watching both episodes, I don't believe you talked about what the sentence was. Is that something you're willing to share or no?
Yeah, we're reticent to do it. We feel like that justice was look. Along with the introduction about the responsibility of when you have a platform as large as ours, look, not everybody who watches our videos, even if they're of like mind relative to political opinions, they're not always good actors, and we don't want to unleash on this man's family the fear and nervousness and anxiety that he unleashed upon us. And we're just, look, isn't that what I want to do? I want to fucking out the guy all day long, every day. But it's not the right thing to do. So we made a decision that we're not going to name him, even though it's all public information. We're just not going to do that. We're not going to.
I also think that if we were to talk about the sentencing, it would invite a lot of comments about, well, that's not enough, or that was too much, or this should have happened, or that should have happened. And I think the main point is that this man picked up the phone, called people that he didn't know because he watched a YouTube video that he disagreed with, threatened to rape and murder, and then U.S. Marshals showed up at his house and arrested him. And he had to be transferred to another state to appear in court for that. And then he pleaded guilty and had to have those words read aloud in a courtroom. So I know people are like, well, but what happened? It's like, well, something happened, which is actually pretty rare. I mean, I remember talking to the police when we made the initial report, and we've made these reports before, and sometimes the cops don't take it super seriously. Sometimes they're dismissive. And I'll usually say, like, you shouldn't have to get to the point where you have a hammer in your head, like Paul Pelosi. We shouldn't get to the point where these people are showing up to your house ready to actually rape or murder you. You should be able to get consequences for this and have this addressed, because these threats, we don't know how serious these people are. We don't know, but we should assume the worst, because what kind of person is picking up the phone and making that threat? Someone who's not well, someone who I think needs to have some sort of intervention, needs to have some sort of consequence. So I'm happy that it actually went somewhere, because as we know, worse things can happen when there are no consequences.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Sorry. Further, we know that actual violence does come to pass. We know that the registered Republican who took a shot at Donald Trump and, all of the political violence that has ensued January 6th, even though Donald Trump encourages, incites, promotes political violence, there is another path forward, and we're going to have to find it together, even if it means, convincing the other side the error of their ways.
Absolutely. Definitely on that.
Yeah.
Tiff, I know you had a question.
Yeah, this is for Brittany. You've done your show, first of all, The Page Perspective. Everybody needs to go subscribe. It's amazing. Really smart stuff. I just really love watching you. You explain things in a way that is really important in this medium that we're in. And you talked about how being forward-facing brings on a next level of intensity, of vulnerability. James and I have only ever been in Democratic messaging behind the camera, and you are 100% right. So how do you go through something like that, keep showing up without having it change you?
Well, first of all, thank you very much. That was very kind.
Well,
and we appreciate all the work that you guys do. I mean, you guys are doing awesome work too, and you're growing in such a fantastic way too. Good question. It's probably mental illness. I don't know.
Me too.
I think that I have just been through things, and I'm not easily intimidated. And, I got some comments on my video where people said, maybe you should take your voicemail line down. Maybe you should stop taking calls from people. And when I read that comment, I thought, well, then that's kind of like giving ground to these people and acknowledging that I'm doing something wrong, but I'm not doing something wrong. They're doing something wrong. They're the ones who aren't controlling themselves. I should be able to have a voicemail line and not, go listen to it and hear rape and death threats. That's the standard, not no one should have a voicemail line. So I think it's just important to not be intimidated, especially with a lot of the comments that we get. And it's hard, but there's also some joy in reading the hate comments. I mean, me and Jesse were just reading some hate comments that I got on my channel. I have a regular
I
hater
love it so much. I love it so much.
He regularly leaves hateful comments that are pretty funny. Since 2023, he's been leaving comments.
I think he thinks they're bangers. He thinks they're fucking hilarious.
And we'll read them. I have a voice I go into when I do them. We have a blast reading them. So I think sometimes you just have to lean into kind of the weird nature of what it is that we're doing here, I guess.
Yeah, and it is just part of what we do. Like you said, it's just, I don't want to punish the good people who call the people's hotline, and I love listening to people's messages. I have a great time, and I'm not going to punish them because there's one or two crazies out there,
Yeah, and also we were just recently, obviously, the three of us at the No Kings event, and people came up to us and said, "Hey, love the show" and stuff. And for the first time, I was like, "Oh, fuck, right? That's because they can fucking see us." You know what I mean?
And I did have a thing where I was like, "Oh, fuck, they can see us."
So I was curious, just real quickly. Do you guys ever get that? I mean, obviously, I know people go up to you guys, but like, do you ever have a feeling of like, whoa, that's a little like, does it ever scare you going out in public? Because you guys are like 100 times larger than what we're doing. And I mean, did you ever like get worried about that?
There's been a few times where someone will come at you and it's because of their nervousness to approach that they don't have a smile on their face. They're not like, oh my God, I'm so excited. And we were in Boise, Idaho one time last summer, and a guy approached me and he was just wanting to say hi and thanks for the work, but he had he's tapped me on the shoulder at the restaurant we were at and he said, "Are you Jesse Dollemore?"
Oh shit.
And I turned around and I backed up a little bit to give myself some kind of
maybe. Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah. And then his face lit up and then he said, so there's certainly nervousness.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in Idaho.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's my home state. So it's, I feel comfortable even amidst the chaos and the fascism. Yeah. But there's been a few, I don't know that Brittany could probably remember a time when I've been approached. I don't think there's been a time where someone came up to really give me the business. But I do remember the very first time I was ever recognized in public, and when the tax march went during Donald Trump's first term, we were in downtown Los Angeles, and a guy came up to me and goes, "Oh, hey, thank you, appreciate your work, blah blah blah," and he walked away, and I go, "That guy thinks he must think I'm somebody else." He goes, "No, it's exactly who it didn't even register like you guys were just talking about, that he could know from my face who I am, because it's just, again, like Brittany has said, and you guys understand, it's a weird thing that we do."
Yeah. And I would say, it's not too many people who, it's husband and wife here. I do it with Tiffany and that's the whole thing. And especially when these kinds of threats involve, things like rape. Pretty scary stuff.
And the guy called you at like 11 o'clock in the morning twice with the kid in the room.
Right.
Yeah, that's insanity.
Like Donald Trump obviously has the largest platform in the world, and it's his responsibility to lower the temperature, and obviously he fails miserably at that and does quite the opposite. You guys are talking to over 1 million people a day, subscribers a day. On this show, we go out of our way to make sure the stuff we say is accurate, and that when we talk about frustration or being angry, we say, go out into the streets peacefully and protest. What can you speak a little bit about the responsibility of having a large platform?
Yeah, I think we have always taken it really seriously, even when we didn't have as large of a platform. And I mean, apart from what you said about being very factual about what you're talking about, I think it is important to realize that people can be influenced by the things that they hear on your show. And so that is a huge responsibility. And we have often tried to focus on tangible ways that people can like take action in their communities and make a difference and do things that are beneficial for their communities. And, this death threat is a good example where Jesse was saying, like, we got this violent threat. We could have, thrown him to the wolves, published his name, published his address, sent people after him. But that would be not the right thing to do. And so we were very certain that that was not the right thing. And we got actually many people who were unhappy about that. We're still getting comments from people saying, what's his name? What's his address? You're sending the message that people can continue to do this, that there's no consequences, because people think consequences are internet justice.
Right.
They think that by harassing someone online, that's a consequence, that's justice. And so I think, we feel a responsibility to try to lead by example, and we don't want to be harassed online. We don't want to be attacked online. And we went through the path to get justice, and we would hope that other people follow that path as well.
I think you guys did it exactly right. I think you took your action. The police took you seriously. The feds took you seriously. He had his process. He went to court. He got his sentence, and it's done. And now, as from a business standpoint, it's time to move on this end. Will he come back? Will a guy do it again? Probably. Somebody's going to say something again, but you did the right thing by taking the high road. Sometimes these lessons, they're not for us. It's for them. It's for that guy and his family, because now he has to go back. He has to go back to his life and tell his mother, his father, his child, whoever child was in that room, plus all the money that he had to spend for this stupid stunt. That it's not for us to dwell on it. It's for them.
Yeah, that lesson might have been for him.
Oh yeah, he'll never forget what he did.
Is we can't as a party and a people and progressives and people who say we cherish the rule of law and justice and the justice system and jurisprudence in the United States. We can't say that with our mouths flapping gums and then, when things don't go our way in that system of jurisprudence, say, "Oh, well, we're going to do extrajudicial punishment. We're going to go and do something even further to ruin his life." Well, he had his day in court. I'm not as thrilled with it as I could have been. In my brain, I feel like I want more, but I know in my heart it's the wrong thing. Maybe it's the other way around. I don't know. Heart, brain, whatever. They're both a little broken sometimes, but justice was served, and it's not up to us to mete out extra justice.
Yeah, and we're not
I just wanted to say, Nick, there's this other guy here.
We don't let him talk anymore.
I'm not allowed. I'm not allowed.
Hey, by the way, can I say we were watching your guys this morning, and I'm so jealous when I was watching Brittany this morning. I'm like, she never ums. She never She just does it.
She's
and I'm
on it, dude.
Shit, I'm terrible at that.
Queen.
Yeah, that's why I'm not allowed to talk.
We stopped Nick from talking. No. Really quick, finally, I just wanted to ask, one of the things we do on this show and have done back with Just 11 Films is we highly encourage people to create political content, to become a voice. And you two are literally some of the biggest voices in political commentary online. And, and by the way, your audience, when we were on your show just briefly, were some of the greatest people.
They're so nice.
So nice. And you had said you might double your followers, and no, not might. We did. And it was incredible, and we cannot thank you enough. But I would like to ask you, what advice would you give to our listeners who may be thinking about starting a podcast, starting a YouTube channel? What advice would you have for a new political creator?
Do it. Just do it.
Do it.
When Brittany and I started, we started I Doubt It podcast, which was just an audio podcast at the time. March 11th, 2014. Neither of us knew a goddamn thing about microphones or audio interfaces and podcasting.
I still don't.
Yeah.
Same.
That is true. But we didn't know anything about it. We had to learn as we went. And hadn't we taken that first step along the journey, we wouldn't be here today. Our audience, we wouldn't have had a community build up around our show, and then YouTube wouldn't have happened. And it's not even predicated, or the things I'm saying is encouragement that you will see the kind of extraordinary luck that we have in this space. It is, of course, there. We worked hard and we tried to do the right thing, and people resonate with how we talk about things. But overwhelmingly, it's luck. There are 10,000 more people who are certainly better looking than me, smarter than me, more well-spoken than the both of us. And for some reason, we broke through and we quote unquote made it. But you gotta, whatever the saying is that's not coming to mind, something about the journey of 1,000 miles begins with the step. You have to start learning from your mistakes and just trudging along and making some content. Because I can tell you this is not a space that should be marked by competition. This is a community thing that all of us should be lifting one another up. It's what Brittany and I have tried to do from the beginning. I look back at how, it was us on our own for a long time. And I don't want it to be like that for others who are doing good work and who have value to provide. And that's why I try to signal boost smaller creators, and hopefully they will be in a position to pay it forward, to borrow another overused metaphor.
Well, and I would add to that I think it's important if someone is thinking about it, that you never know who you're going to change once you start doing this kind of work. And there's been so many messages that we've received over the years from people who have told us stories about how listening to our show or watching our videos has literally saved their life. And I mean, there's a profound impact that you can have on the people who listen to you, who watch you. And you never know who might be looking for your story, your particular point of view. And so I think there's something out there for everybody. That's part of what Jesse's saying. It's not a competition because there is something out there for everybody. There's going to be people who listen to one of us and we're not for them. We totally get that. And, there's going to be someone out there who is for them. And we always say that in our videos, maybe not always, not every time, but we say it often that you should go support whoever it is that you do like. And that's the important part.
I love that.
Yeah, I also, sorry. I think about this from the perspective of like, I have a different pedigree than a lot of progressives. A lot of, I don't know that I would fully call myself a leftist, but I'm, inching there on a daily basis when you fight fascism, right?
Yeah.
And I think about it from the perspective of that I'm a former Marine, I'm a former conservative, evangelical, Christian nationalist type from my childhood. So I carry with me experiences and a life that a lot of people who share the same views as all of us don't have. And if I'm able to reach someone based on, I came from that same faith tradition. I also was in the Marine Corps. You don't have to be X, Y, or Z if you're those things. And if someone else wants to start creating content and they can resonate with someone and their views can resonate and their life experiences can, it's changing hearts and minds, and that's what we should all be dedicated to.
Couldn't agree more. And Nick, I know you had something as well, right?
I can talk?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay.
I'm hogging all the time.
Thanks, Jim. No, I just sort of going back to your point earlier, just that this is like a non-competitive space and just the importance of that. We are still, the left is getting trounced online in every possible way, like no matter what platform you're talking about practically. And we just need more voices. We need people to step up and have that courage. It is, your story resonated with me, not to the extent that you guys have had it, but I've had like during COVID, I put out a Twitter post and it went viral, and the next week I had Nazi flags getting sent to my house, and I mean it's not without it's not. You need to have some level of courage because you are putting yourself out there, and it's important for you to know that, like, before you get into it. But just know that like there are other people in the community who can help walk you through how to handle all that stuff. And you guys handled it extremely well. And for the most part, these people who are doing that kind of stuff are like BS.
Lucky enough for us, neither one, Brittany or myself, are wilting violets. We are more aggressive.
What the fuck did you say to me? That's how we are. Yeah.
Exactly. So neither one of us had to contend with that, but certainly know the risks and what could be if you do step in, because it's not all death threat every day.
Right.
It's going to be annihilation, but it's certainly, there are some shitty times.
Yeah. And I
know how to protect yourself too, right? I mean, you can put boundaries in place.
Yep.
You don't have to, just because you are in front of the camera, share everything about your life and tell everyone everything. Like, you can have boundaries up and still protect yourself. You don't need to like go live in front of your house. Like you can, you can put things in place that still protect your safety as much as possible, knowing that there are still risks even when you do that.
Yeah. And when you take that energy to, when your audience asks you to name this guy, dox this guy, when you take the energy to do that, like, we're just not in the vigilante business.
No.
We're not in the ruining lives business. We're in the building business.
Yeah.
We are trying to build a coalition of positive voices, because if we don't, I can't. We have 1,302 days or something left in this bullshit administration.
Wow,
like,
you got a countdown.
Oh yeah. Every day I'm like, only 1,300 days. Hold the line, everybody.
Well, let me just finish off with this real quick. And you guys, for everybody who's listening right now or watching this video, Brittany and Jesse have been nothing short of amazing and generous with us. And when we talk about paying it forward, we're talking about these two folks right here. They don't have to be on a podcast podcast our size, and they're doing it. And that truly means a lot to us. So thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I mean, that's so generous.
You're making me feel very weird and awkward.
I love awkward, man. Let's do it.
He's really good at that.
Shit, who happens to have gotten lucky enough to have 1 million subscribers on you. It's not a,
It's not true. I'm totally addicted.
I don't walk around, the little people.
Look at me.
When it comes on, I'm like addicted. I'm like, here we go. All right, what's next?
I'm going to learn something today.
It's not just luck, man. Thank you so much for coming on, and we'll provide all the links and everything in the description, truly from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys, and thank you for your work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We appreciate the invite, you guys.
You bet. Folks, be sure to subscribe to Brittany's channel at Brittany Page. With over 130,000 subscribers, you probably already know her videos highlight psychology, activism, public policy, and of course, politics. And subscribe to Jesse's channel at Dollemore. You'll be joining well over 1 million other subscribers who love watching Jesse's take on the latest news. Plus, they have a podcast called I Doubt It, which is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you enjoy your podcasts.